Randy, have you seen the Craven trailer?
Oh, fuck, yeah, I've seen it.
Somebody
Holy
on my
shit.
Facebook posted,
Jesus.
holy shit, did Sony really put up a White Panther trailer on Juneteenth?
That was, yeah, I saw that. That was
I
amazing.
was like, holy fuck, that's great.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Episode 440 of the TV Dudes, recorded June 21st, 2023. Secret Invasion. This week, we're talking about Secret Invasion on Disney Plus and the new season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds on Paramount Plus. Before we get to that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm not Skrull Nick.
That's what a Skrullnik would
That's
say.
what a Skrullnik would say.
And we're the TV Dudes plus Skrull.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a lighter week as far as like stuff we're talking about, but notable week. The return of a sci-fi favorite and the first new Marvel series in a while. Feels like it's been a little while.
Well, they
since we've
focused
had
on
one,
movies
right?
for a minute, you know.
Yeah.
And they stagger out the releases so that there's always, you know, back when there was the Marvel series first came out, there was like the Marvel series, and then they would take a break, and then there would be the movie, and then there would be a Marvel Legends on the movie or that character, and then there would be the next series.
Yeah, it felt nearly seamless for almost a year.
Yeah,
and I hate this. I got used to that. It's like you
Same.
can't take away my crack. You can't take away my crack cocaine and give me nothing. It's not okay.
yeah, you can't. You got to wean us off. That's cold turkey. That's
Gotta wean
messed
us
up.
off. Yeah. So yeah, I've missed it, and we'll talk about it. But first, let's talk about our appetizers, our TV diaries, if you will.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
And I guess I'll go first. I was on a big rewatch kick this last time, so I finished up Deep Space Nine. Watched the last 10 episode arc, which it is very much a sort of one big story in a lot of ways. It's still episodic, it's still Star Trek, but it is a big story that ends the whole thing. I have some gripes about the actual final episode, the way they would have done things. It's clearly it was not done in the time of really serialized TV, because there's stuff where like they definitely left it in a and the adventure continues place, and they didn't give us satisfying wrap ups to all the character arcs. And I'm like, you guys should have given us an ending. This is before they were doing endings, really. But it's a solid enough ending that I would say for me, the final season of Deep Space Nine is definitely maybe better than what I would say the real final season of Babylon 5. Although I think as finales go, Babylon 5 is better. And those are both shows I really enjoyed. So I'm glad I watched it. It probably ranks as my favorite Star Trek at this point. On Father's Day, I got my wife to sit down with me and watch all of Ted Lasso season 1.
Oh wow!
So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. So we burned through all of that. And then I've started since I finished up my Deep Space Nine. I need some rewatching stuff. I also finished up my Good Place rewatch. I finished watched all of season 4 this week. Man, that is a smooth rewatch. Good Place.
Take it sleazy. What a great line to take it out on the show with. You know,
It's perfect.
final line.
You can put that show on. It took me a month to burn through the whole thing. Just like it's such an easy show to watch and be like, I'll watch one more. And then before you know it, you've watched an entire season in a week. Like it's such a really good show. And with those both out of the way, it was time for another rewatch project. So I started back in on season 2 of Parks and Rec. And a friend of mine is finally watching Peacemaker. So I started watching Peacemaker again. I watched the first 3 episodes of that, and you'll be unsurprised to know that show is still great.
Yes.
Yeah, I would be shocked to fear if anything changed in the last.
Nope. It's fantastic.
Like, what was it? A year since we've watched it, or like?
Yeah.
It was last year. Yeah. I finally sat down and watched Star Wars Vision season 2, which I thought was pretty solid. There's a couple really, really great episodes in there.
Yep.
Nick, I know you watched all that.
Did I watch all of it, or did I actually finish? I know I watched a bunch of them.
I thought you watched all of it.
Maybe I watched all of it. It's hard to remember because they don't. I mean, they're all separate. I don't know but I remember my favorite one being the race, the school race.
The one that Ardman did?
Ardman, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That was a lot
of fun.
The head racer pulls out a mini Death Star. It's like,
yes.
Loved it. Yeah. I loved it.
It was a lot of fun. It was my second favorite. My favorite was the one that was actually it was like Indian Star Wars. It was like the brother and his sister who's a Jedi, maybe Jedi,
Mhm.
and they're like on the run and they're on a train. And that was a really good Star Wars. I really enjoyed that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw that one. It's later in the
I
run.
have to I can't quite remember. I remember liking the Sith one where, like, the old witch in the cave,
Yeah,
and how
yeah,
it was like a take on a mythology of, like, the old witch in the mountain, like
yeah, yeah. It was like a haunted house story
yeah,
kind of.
but
Yeah,
with, like,
yeah.
Jedi and, like, and you can see how it worked with the telekinesis and
Hmm.
how, a child would describe a Sith. I really dug it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I did too. I thought it was a good second season. And let's see, what else did I watch? I watched a couple more episodes of Cutthroat Kitchen. Since I'm back watching through that, I've seen a lot of that, but not all of it. And so I've been kind of watching that from time to time. I watched the latest episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is called The Gang Gets Cursed. Um, and it is the series where the gang all thinks they've been cursed and sets off to make amends to those they've wronged. It's this show should not still be as good as it is, but it is still great. And then after watching Secret Invasion this morning, I went ahead and turned on Ant-Man and Wasp: Quantumania, which I have not watched since I saw it in the theater, and I liked it less. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm having some feelings on Marvel of late, and I'm a little sad that I'm having to agree with some of the haters because I really don't want to.
I really don't
Uh,
mind Ant-Man and the Wasp, well, 1, because I think MODOK's stupid, and deserves to be made fun of. Like,
I guess that may be a big part of it for me is
I
that
know it is. I know you love
I've seen
MODOK,
MODOK in the
and,
comics, and he has been done well, and they could have done him well.
I disagree that he's even been done well in the comics. I can't remember any time he's been a legitimate threat.
Then you haven't read them. It was Mark Gruenwald's Captain America,
Okay.
but
Is he
more to
still
the
a
point,
giant floating head in that?
he is still a giant floating
Cool,
head.
that's never gonna
But
work then.
more to the point, though,
Whittled arms.
the whole thing is too jokey. The whole thing reminds me of what they did with Thor: Love and Thunder, and I don't want to be one of these guys because
Because they're
I'm very
wrong
annoyed.
about,
I'm very annoyed about people who are like Marvel's so jokey, but it is like it got maybe too jokey in these last few movies.
look,
They definitely are
I'll give
not.
you Thor: Love and Thunder, but that's just not. I don't think it's the problem with the joke, it's a problem with the writing being sloppy as far as pacing-wise.
See,
I
I
I'm
think
telling you,
Quantumania
the
was
tone, the jokes is calculated and what keeps it from being DC, and the shit show
yeah,
that DC is.
and I get it. And like if my choice is too jokey or DC, I will take too jokey. Like I still rank Quantumania over every DC movie I've seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it I don't know.
The j
I was
I will
watching
die
it.
on this hill until proven wrong definitively that the jokes are not the quips are not the problem, they are the feature.
No, I don't think that's the problem. I do think there was. I thought
Guardians
their quantum
3
realm was
is
not that
jokey,
interesting.
but also has a
Yeah,
core heart to it, uh,
it does, and
and has a
that's what's missing
stronger
for me.
narrative, pull as far as a 2nd act and 3rd go for it, and that's
That's
where
what's missing in Quantumania. Quantumania is trying to have they're trying to have some emotional stakes between Hank and Janet and between Scott and Cassie, and none of it quite worked
well,
for me.
the whole time Janet and Hank going their whole story is like, "Do we really need this? Or can't we just focus
Yeah,
on Scott and Cassie and sell one of these relationships?"
yeah. I also I feel like their Kang was good, but they didn't quite develop like he's either super dangerous or not dangerous at all, depending on what the plot requires, and that's a little frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought the writing was inconsistent. The writer is a guy named Jeff Loveness who's written some comics that I've found pretty unremarkable, and I feel like they've lost some of their brain trust. They've lost the Russo brothers moved on to do stuff that's not as good, and so did Marcus McFeely and Marcus McFeely. They moved on to do stuff that's not as good. So I feel like everybody lost.
The they're, they form Voltron together, but, like, they can't really do
Yeah,
shit with the individual lion bots.
absolutely. Yeah.
Your favorite band broke up. Now you got two favorite bands. No, I hate them both.
No,
No, I hate them
that's
both.
not how
Yeah.
it works.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to say come back Joss Whedon because that's all kinds of problematic. But Jesus, man, they're missing something in the secret sauce. and I wish they would get it back. That said, I not like I hated it, but I definitely was watching this going, "Oh, yeah, I understand why people say this is not a good movie." And that makes me sad because there's a lot of stuff I like in that movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what I watched. What'd y'all watch?
Well, I watched some Beast Wars some more today after we went to go see the Beast Wars, only to remember like, yeah, fuck, this show isn't good. Damn it. Keep forgetting that. It's just yeah, the uh Tubi having all of them though available is pretty like Tubi is really impressing me as far as their catalog going forward. Uh, they're like making moves here, I think, now that Netflix and Max and them seem to be kind of losing a little bit of footing, maybe not quite monetary wise, but reputation wise, as far as their top spot in the streaming services. I think Tubi's trying to pick up a kind of the slack there.
Just a bunch of crazy kids with the wild idea that if they curate a lot of the same stuff together and then put ads in it,
they'll make some money.
That it might work as television.
Yeah, so we watched at least half a crawl on Tubi as well. Was that where it was on?
Yeah, I think it was. Well, because we tried to watch and this is also Tubi has also invested in a lot of originals. One of them is called Swim, and it is supposed to be a shark in a rental house, in a flooded rental house. It's like, all right, fuck, I'm down to see that.
Yeah.
The opening credits are like Joey Lawrence. Like, okay, this is going to be nuts. We need to watch Joey Lawrence fight a shark in a rental house. No, it is very bad.
We didn't even get to the premise of it.
No, I think we made it 10 or 15 minutes in, and we were still in like a bright, sunny beach area with like family talking on cell phones to each other.
It's one of those things of like, you don't realize how well a movie is selling you on an environment like Crawl with the hurricane when you see someone do it poorly.
Yeah. Well, so I looked over at Nick, was like, where was Crawl at this moment? So we went over and watched Crawl.
Well, it's like, okay, well, he's sitting in a car with water, like just drizzling on the car outside in like obvious like water hose, and be like, oh man, it sure is coming down out there, man. Weather's really bad. I mean, let's not pull an establishing shot out because we can't afford that, but you just trust us that everything around this 10-foot radius of the car is fucking a monsoon. Like, trust us on that.
But the other end of the phone call is somebody in like a sunny, like lovely area, and they're talking about this incoming storm. But that's not the same as like, like the way that Crawl opens. Like, it is a downpour from the start, and it opens with like a phone call of like, hey, so we're all out of the area. I am not able to get a hold of Dad. I really need you to double check that he's not doing something stupid, like waiting out this hurricane. Like, it's all just immediate, like the stakes, the rain, the weather. Yeah, the differences in those two movies being set up. So we finished watching Crawl, needless to say, because it's amazing.
I also watched another crocodile movie called Saltwater that was not very good, but was interesting in the fact that it was based off of allegedly true events. The records on it are a little incomplete, so it's hard to verify. It's the largest animal on human massacre on record, with crocodiles in this island off the coast of India, I think, or somewhere in Southeast Asia, I think. Renee Island. During World War II, a bunch of Japanese soldiers get lured into a swamp, and 1,000 go in, and like something crazy like 80 come out. There's conflicting reports on exactly how many got killed by alligators rather than just got, stuck in the swamp, killed by other means, and then just eaten. But this is the so-called story of how that might have come to pass. Them getting sent into the swamp by to look for this British crew. Also watched some more Unicorn Warriors. The next episode of that where they fix up Copernicus, which is great because I love him, and I was like worried, like, shit, is he not going to be on the fucking show anymore? Because I love him. Lisa was watching that. She actually finished that out, or did she lose interest?
No, I just threw on the first one. So we watched one. I didn't realize that the episode that I'd seen part of Over Your Shoulder was actually the first episode. I did exactly what Lisa did and went, wait, I'm sorry, you just threw on the first episode you said? I assumed you were 6 deep at this point. Because the opening 5 minutes of that is like, okay,
kind of
then that,
lore.
okay. It's just insane from the jump. She was like, wait, we're 5 minutes into episode 1? Like, yes.
Yeah, we've come a long way from Samurai Jack just explaining the fucking overall premise and and then I flung him into the future. I watched something called Eyes of the Dead, which is a kind of low-budget zombie movie with the gimmick of being seen through the eyes of a survivor, which, as far as the gimmick, hides the budget of it pretty well, has CG blood that I'm not a fan of, but I do love that it's so consistent that the opening shot is blurry until the guy puts his contacts in, and then the shot clears up. Like, you are seeing it through, it's not a camera, it's his perspective. Like, it's literally his eyes. And then I watched American Carnage with Jenny Ortega and who's the main guy from that? Fuck, I can't remember his name. Which is an interesting movie, real nuts, but almost a little too nuts in its third act as far as when it's trying to have a message about immigration, and then suddenly, Sorry to Bother You, when
Like, also, well, shit, this is suddenly about genetic horse dick people, or, yeah.
yeah, and then suddenly, like, it's a big reveal, and it's shocking, right? But then you kind of forget about the whole metaphor they were selling as far as the merchants of death, like, were like slave runners and weapons dealers, and suddenly now it's all about the horse thing. Like, wait, are we gonna like go back to the other? Like, we were threading a whole like message and story arc on that, and now it's like not about that anymore. Because now all I can think about is horse penis. No, it's gonna be great. You have a horse cock, right? You're gonna be the Martin Luther King of horse people. That is the sales pitch of Sorry to Bother You.
Oh man, seeing that in the theater was still fucking amazing, though.
Yep, yeah, I saw that in the theater too. I did not know what I was in for.
You saw Boots Riley's got a new show coming out.
Oh,
yeah, about a like giant tall black dude in Oakland is he's like 2 stories tall.
Oh shit, that's what I'm a Virgo is about. That's
it's called I'm a Virgo. Yeah, his new show.
That's coming starting like 2 days. That's awesome. I didn't know that. That snuck up on me. Nice.
And then I watched and then recommended the latest episode of Black Mirror to Les. That had
interesting.
Joan is Awful is the name of that one.
Joan is Awful
Annie
is
Murphy
the name of the episode. Annie Murphy and Selma Hayek are the stars in it.
A little bit of Cate Blanchett.
It's one of those Black Mirror episodes that gets up its own ass so fast that becomes part of the joke. Like, usually Black Mirror episodes end up like you're waiting for them to jump up their own ass by the end and ruin everything. This one jumps up its own ass immediately, and then like that's the premise. Like, because Joan is just an HR person that is going about. We just see her day for the first 10 minutes or so. And then she goes home to watch something on Netflix, right? Or no, Streamberry is their version of it.
Oh,
and suddenly she sees something called Joan is Awful with Salma Hayek with her very distinctive hairstyle. And they're like, what the fuck? Her and her boyfriend start to put it on, and it just repeats the first 10 minutes of the show of going through her day.
But she looks a little shittier.
She looks a little
just
shittier.
A little bit.
They change a little bit to make her look a little shittier. And it goes throughout her day and then actually makes it all the way to the end of her day where she's watching Streamberry. Selma Hayek is. And is now found the show Joan is Awful. And it's like, wait a minute, is that Cate Blanchett? So Selma Hayek's version also is in it has a show in her show that's fucking up her life. And Cate Blanchett is the star of her show.
And we should stop talking about it from here because like that's the start of how fucking weird this episode gets.
Okay, all right, sure.
And so it's about Annie Murphy's character trying to like get out of this fucking hellhole trap of this new Streamberry quantum computer that's somehow narrating her life story. and Selma Hayek guest stars as herself as well, gets involved. It's pretty fun. I really enjoyed it. I actually highly recommend it.
Seriously, I Black Mirror is going to go on my list of things to watch when I restart my Netflix. Whenever whenever Cobra Kai or the final season of Stranger Things or Umbrella Academy comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because right now I am in a no Netflix zone, and I'm got so much else to watch. I'm like, nah, I'll get to it eventually.
I mean, honestly, Netflix doesn't have a really big drop right now. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
it'll be different, like you said, when Cobra Kai or fucking Stranger Things drops again or whatever.
yeah. I'm basically going to do the thing that most people do with streaming services, which is save up a list
Mm-hmm.
and then get it for a month and watch everything I want to watch that's on the service.
And Netflix used to be basically immune to that, and
which is what me and
Yeah.
Les have done recently with From on MGM Plus, which we watched a couple more episodes of that.
Oh yeah,
Or maybe did we watch a couple like new ones from last time we talked about it? No, we watched some new ones, right?
I think we got to episode. I think we watched the first 2, maybe 3.
We definitely got to the episode where they find a guy and he's like, "Oh, you think the town is the worst part of this?"
Oh
and
yeah,
it's like,
no, that's in
"Oh,
episode 1
shit."
though. That's the first one back though.
Is that the first one? Fuck.
Yeah, we watched one after that, but there's 9 out now. So it actually finishes this Sunday, I think.
Hell yeah.
okay, all right.
Yeah, it looks like we might. My theory is that we're seeing how these monsters are created as far as going forward. But obviously, I could be wrong. We get very little information.
Yeah. I think they're in a terrarium built by aliens that don't understand it. I think it's something like Dark City.
Sure, which I can't disprove. Definitely,
Like I think they're in like a snow globe of like what we put food and animals and some plants in there. You like houses?
like Randy, you should hear Les every time he imitates the people that are outside. For whatever reason,
Oh yeah,
Les
it's
is
always
convinced,
rednecks.
Les is convinced this is a terrarium of humans run by redneck aliens.
Like I'm waiting for like the Justin Roiland
just throw
style,
some
like
chicken in there for them to eat. Like, I don't
Man.
know.
Hey, look it, they like corn chips.
I don't know why Les is convinced whatever
I am
entity
convinced.
they are southern and red.
They're going to be southern, and I think it's because the one time that they got the radio to work in season 1, the voice actor that they got to be the voice that calls his MC Gainey, and so
okay.
and so like that's my only associate, like the voice from outside of like, hey, stop doing that is this Jim?
So Les is a scrap.
Tell your wife stop digging that hole.
It's just a race of MC Gainies that have
Right.
that are contracted.
Wait. MC Gainey was the big guy in the others, and are they just remaking
Dude,
Lost?
that's what I
Is this a
said.
remake of
That's what
Lost?
I told Les. I'm like, dude, he was in Lost. He was the main others dude in Lost.
Yep.
That's not an
Lost.
accident.
That's what this is.
No, but I swear, like that. So that's what I just picture is like every once in a while, like somebody's grandpa walks by a CB and picks it up. Hey, stop tapping on the glass.
You know they don't like that.
That's how y'all get it.
Anyway, Les, what did you watch?
Well, I watched From. Now I watched an episode of Unicorn Warriors. I watched a couple episodes of The Bear in prep for the full drop of that tomorrow. Fucking can't wait. That show is so good. Fanny's been watching Breaking Bad and tearing through it, so we've I think she's just into season 4 now. And so I've got to see her like meet Gus, meet Gale, unmeet Gale.
Unmeet Gale.
Oh, I guess that happened, huh?
Yeah, fuck. Oh man, when she's like, I love Gale. What's this? This show's gonna tear him up.
That is the lightest I've ever heard someone put a murder. Well, then I unmet them.
I unmet him with extreme prejudice.
It's like when she messaged me. So Jane's either gonna OD or rob Jesse, and I was like,
oh man,
fuck! It's actually worse than both those things.
You're so close, and yet
that's what she messaged. She's like, so I don't even want to know how Gail's gonna get murdered because I'm sure it's gonna be terrible. I was like, it's worse than whatever you're thinking. I promise.
It's so much. Yeah, it's so much worse.
Although
it's so bad.
It does make you realize how much of like, Yeah, Walt should have been more messed up the first time he killed a person, right? This is what an actual human being reacts the way when they end a life. Jesse is how a
Jesse
regular
can't.
person
I mean,
does.
Jesse's already having trouble rolling with the guy's head getting squashed, Spooge's head getting squashed under
by the
ATM.
ATM.
Which Dale Dickey
Yeah.
for the win. Holy shit! I'm not a skank.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yep. Yep.
And I
Yep.
love Jesse like, but she was a skank. I mean, I don't know why she was so mad. But yeah, he already can't even really. He's like, I could still hear the sound in my ears. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Walt gives like that's the first time we see Walt like give him the full pep talk of like, you're an animal, you can do this, and like, you son of a bitch. So that by the time the Gale murder happens, I'm like, this is all Walt's fault for dragging Jesse back like towards this.
Anytime I rewatch Breaking Bad, and I haven't rewatched it on the finale, I don't think, but every season every time a season would end, I would rewatch the previous ones, right? And each time I would go, "Wait, Walt, you're even a bigger piece of shit than I thought you were." Like,
God, Walt's the worst.
Mhm.
He is the worst. Skylar's divorced him by now.
and going
Hank has
back
been
now,
shot.
I'm like watching it over
Yeah.
your shoulder and over Fanny's shoulder is like, shit, you are a piece of shit. Like from
He's
Jump
fucking
Street,
terrible.
you're a piece of shit.
No, and Fanny, she was like, I don't think we've seen there hasn't been a nice guy, actual good Walt since before college. Like,
Yeah.
like whatever happened to him
Agreed.
that made him get mad and leave the Gray Matter crew
No,
and not be
he
friends with them
starts
anymore.
as a bitter fucking dude.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the first episode, we see him go outside, go around the building in the clothing store and come back in and,
Oh yeah, beat
yeah.
that kid.
yeah, step on that kid's leg.
Yep.
And Skylar wanted to handle it the right way, like go over there and say
Yeah.
something.
Go over there and stand up for your kid, but go up there.
But that's not what Walt wants to do. Walt wants to look me like, and you can. There's something in him there. Yeah,
Walt wants people to be afraid of him.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's about to come up on. Well, we're about to end the end of season 4, so Mike's on the show, but Gus is about to not be. That's going to be wild. I cannot wait to see what all caps text I get. She watches that episode.
I forgot that we spend there's a significant period of Breaking Bad that is sans Gus.
Right.
He's
Well,
in a lot of
yeah.
it, but
And he's so good at what he does, except Walt's just fucking Walt, man. Like, she's already, she's like, there's no fucking way that Walt manages to kill Gus. And I'm like, I don't want to say anything except like, well, okay, you're talking about plan 1. No. Obviously, that doesn't work. Plan 3, though.
wait,
Plan
there's a
3
plan
works.
2?
I don't know. I can't, but like Walt spends like that whole season, like slowly trying to figure out ways to like get Gus. And it's finally
Well, the final way is a way back around, like, think through
Yeah.
it, like, false flag with Jesse. That's like, dude, how did you even... You're psychotic.
yeah, this is insane.
Mhm.
And I looked up something about the whole like Gus hole through his face thing and like whether that's I guess they caught some shit of like, well, that's not feasible. Like he wouldn't still be talking a little bit. I'm like, nope. They pulled that from a news report. There was like some guy blew himself up in a lab on accident once, like thing, and when the EMTs got there, like Two-Face style hole, like Jonah Hex burn hole through his face, and he talked to everybody for 20 something minutes. And so like they were like, nope, we put it in there because that shit is possible.
Damn.
Craziness. So yeah, Breaking Bad. Also some Parks and Rec, afterwards.
Yep.
Uh,
Sure.
Then, of course, been keeping up on Elementary. It's always fun. Holmes figures it out, but he's always wrong a little bit at the start. It's very comforting. Then, of course, kept up with Soups and Lois. Lois has now had a double mastectomy, and it seems to be getting over her cancer. They've actually handled that really, really well. While at the same time,
It's such a weird thing.
it's I got to give them props for just going direct. It's like Flash is fighting like another speedster again for his
You
final
gotta
season
be
or
shitting
something
me.
like
Oh
that.
God,
right?
is Flash still on?
No, they
I forgot. I
finished
thought it
their
was
last
over.
season. I think it's over now.
No, I caught Les the other day watching the last
Yeah,
season
watching
of Flash.
a
I was
yeah.
like, God damn it, Les.
They're still,
He's like,
still
no,
so
I'm just
terrible.
masturbating. I promise.
Yes.
I'm not watching the Flash. Nothing embarrassing.
So yeah, at least Soups and Lois had the nerve to go at a real problem that like Superman can't
Sure.
directly fix. Also,
Yeah.
Superboy is Jordan's getting a little into being a hero, and in a way that worries Clark in terms of like, I think you're doing this because you like the applause.
Oh
and
yeah,
and
you can't be in for that.
and like the realization that like
That's
hey,
how you
Clark,
get Homelander, my man.
well, and the slow realization that like, hey Clark, you're kind of a weirdo for being great at that. Actually, like most
Yeah.
people wouldn't handle that the way you do.
Yeah.
No, I am steadfast in that Superman's greatest asset is that he's kind of a goober.
Yeah. No, and so like they're having to deal with like, how do we raise a kid and not push him towards home? You know, how do you not make him like rebel and be Homelander kind of shit? Not that Jordan's anything close to that, but it's just, you can see the worry on Clark's face of like, oh fuck.
Sure. Well, it's the worry of any parent, like worrying about their kid and their outlook on life, and especially when they see themselves in it, only with a little
The
bit bigger
fear of
stakes
what
involved.
yeah, well, and the fear of what you know you could do if you like what you know would happen if you didn't hold back is the fear you have for what your kid might do. Almost every episode or every couple of episodes, this show manages to give a Superman moment of power usage that gives goosebumps. They have a tornado break out like right after they've told Jordan he can't have his suit anymore and go until he can, like, he's basically grounded. And then a tornado breaks out and Jordan disobeys and goes to help Clark. And at first Clark tells him to go home and he won't, but like there's no time to make him go home, you know. But you get these like Superman and Superboy like streaking around this tornado, like these little white blurs around this tornado as they blow ice breath on. And like watching Superman and Superboy stop a tornado on TV is fucking rad. Also, they in the course of Lois's cancer, they end up getting, she ends up befriending Bruno Mannheim's wife, who also has cancer, which leads her to some crazy shit Bruno Mannheim's doing, trying to stop that. He's trying to basically use intergang tech to help with her cancer, but to do it, he's doing a bunch of illegal shit. In the course of it, she finds out that the murder that she reported on that got Lex sent to jail for 17 years, and is the reason there's no Lex on this show, was committed by Mannheim. And she, and she proves it. And like, so they had an episode, a couple of episodes of like people looking at Lois going, no, I don't care if you were wrong. You can't report this. Letting out Lex is worse. And she's like, I can't.
Yeah, because I know
now. I have to say it. So this episode, Lex got out. So we see their Lex Luthor for the first time, and he's a beast. Like he'd break John Cryer in half.
Okay, all right.
He's definitely been in prison for he's been running this prison for 17 years.
Well, there's that thing in fucking not Red where he's dying, the dying Superman comic. Fuck, what's that called?
Yeah, All-Star.
All-Star Superman, where Lex is in prison working out basically and gives that whole speech on like earning his muscles and stuff.
Yeah, that's basically this. It's kind of the Lex they've got here. Like it opens with him doing push-ups in a cell, and there's like 7 or 8 bullet wounds and like scars in his back.
Oh shit!
That like shows his first day in the prison. Like he walks in and like threatens one dude. You know, hey, I want such and such, and like takes an ass whooping. Like just takes a beating. but straight up tells these guys like, yeah, you guys have screwed up. You should have taken my offer. So I know y'all are gonna beat me, but when all this is said and done, you're gonna lose your teeth. I might let you walk again. And then he gets dragged in front of the warden, just beat to shit. And the warden's like, yeah, might want to keep your mouth shut from now on. And he pulls a phone note, like pulls a piece of paper out of his pocket, goes, call that number. And the warden goes, that's my home number, and calls it. And it's like, just daddy, do whatever the man says. And like, and Lex just, let me explain how this works now. And the next thing you see, he is sitting on the dude who first told him we're going to whoop your ass. Like, that guy's on all fours like a bench. And, like, Lex just beats him if he leans weird with a glass of wine. And the guy with no teeth is a towel over his arm. Like, is there anything particularly like from the kitchen, sir? Like, while everybody just stands outside their cells. Like within 2 days, Lex is running. By the time he gets out, the warden is helping arrange for there not to be press there. Like, everyone works for Lex after 17 years. So far, I'm really enjoying, and he just no car, no nothing, walks out of prison, walks directly to the Kent farm, knocks on the door, looks at
Holy
Lois
shit.
Lane and tells her, "You retire from reporting. I never want to have to read another fucking word you've written."
Oh shit.
And that's the start of it. She's like, "Well, I'm sorry." He goes, "You think I want more words from you? I want to never hear from you again. My daughter was like 15 when I went away. She will not speak to me now."
Okay, I get it, but also,
Like, he's so mad.
Lex,
And that's what she's like. She's like,
you've
"I
done
was
a
wrong
bunch of
about
other shit you
that
could have gone
one
to jail
thing."
for.
Yeah.
You just weren't caught for those things.
She stands on the porch and like, "I was wrong about that thing, and I am sorry, but I'm not wrong about who you are."
Yeah.
But it's also great watching Clark stand there on the porch and kind of different from the cancer, but still, like, he can't revealing to Lex Luthor that you're Superman's the most dangerous thing you could do.
Right.
If he doesn't yet know, you cannot give him that information. But at the same time, if he looks like he's about to like smack Lois Lane right after chemo and a mastectomy, and you're Superman, how do you not?
Yeah, how do you not step in?
So it's I think it got picked. Apparently, CW's not going to be. It's not going to be capeless.
It got picked up for another season.
Yeah.
I was shocked.
Holy shit!
And so now that Bruno Mannheim's gone, his last unfinished project, he had the body of Bizarro, and had brought it back to life or woke it back up. And Lex now owns that. So the end of the episode is Lex walking around this damaged lab of like, so let's see what all we've inherited from the late great Mr. Mannheim. And there's a Bizarro crawling around in like broken concrete in like a sealed underground lab eating rats. And so Lex owns a Bizarro now. So anyway, Soups and Lois has been fucking wild. And I'm really enjoying it. There's nothing else in the CW that I'm watching, which is odd. I watched that 80s eugenics comedy Twins, which was super weird.
I'm sorry, describing it as that 80s eugenics comedy?
No, that's correct. That is 100% correct.
100% accurate.
Sure, but you understand why the marketing team didn't go that direction.
I've never seen Twins, but I remember how fucking weird it looked.
You mean that 80s alcoholism PSH?
I mean, honestly, you can explain at least 75% of the output of 80s movies as that propaganda. So
right.
You know,
man, yeah, Twins is they produced out of like 7 donors, all of which were white. They produce the perfect human specimen, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like it's just an Austrian god. And then the embryo doesn't split evenly, and the other part is Danny DeVito.
Yeah, which is fantastic.
Which is just fantastic.
By the way,
that said, like that you cannot think about the premise of the show at all, or it gets very bad.
It's funny.
Their performances
funny
are fucking hilarious.
Schwarzenegger was like the pinnacle perfection in the 80s for so long, and it was so weird because he was in this, and then he'd be in other things where it's like he's in Total Recall playing a guy who's supposed to be just a normal construction worker,
right,
when in fact he looks like a Greek god. And I remember there was a comedian who did a bit. There was a point at which he was going to play Sergeant Rock, and the comedian was like, "Here come the Germans, let's get them." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's wrong. You can't do that."
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, that sounds wrong.
He looks, oh man, he's got this Klaus Kinski, Willem Dafoe craziness to his face that's amazing. I forget how fucking funny Schwarzenegger can be.
Yeah, because now you only can see the Fubar, and you're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" But back then he was that good.
Yeah, I don't know if it's intentional or not. Looking back at it now, I get the feeling it's more intentional than I was giving him credit for. I think the guy's actually got some timing. But yeah, odd movie. Also watched rewatched X. God, a fucking fantastic horror movie.
Where is that streaming? I need to watch that.
I'm not sure where we found that. It was on HBO, or I might have just rented it.
Yeah. Oh no, it's not X that I haven't seen. Is it
Pearl? I think Pearl may be
I
streaming as well though now. It might be on Paramount.
I haven't seen Pearl yet. I saw X. I need to see Pearl.
Paramount or Peacock, one of the two.
Okay, all right.
And then of course we saw Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
Yeah. Which
Maximus.
we're going to talk about for Patreon.
Maximize.
Optimus Primal. Of course, watched a little bit more of From. Watched Crawl. Big news. Watched Henshin.
Oh shit!
We have the
Ah.
final
Did watch
export.
Hinton.
It's up on Vimeo. Well, you can't go find it. It's got to be private
Yeah,
Right.
just for
for
backers.
now. But
Hey, wait a minute!
the
I was a backer.
yeah, the backer link will be sent out tomorrow. Well,
Mhm.
Oh, nice.
yesterday, as of the time that this
As
will be
of this
aired. Yeah.
recording.
Aha.
So yeah, that's huge. And then of course I watched Jonah's Awful, which I thought we were gonna have Black Mirror on our list, and so I figured, well, we'll talk more about it later. But yeah, other than the twists and stuff, I really enjoyed the Jonah's Awful episode. Don't like Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror's kind of a bummer.
It's a bummer every fucking time. That's not to say that there aren't Black Mirror episodes that aren't some of the slickest, best sci-fi horror that I've ever seen on television, but I
Right.
never want to watch it.
Well, even Jonah's Awful has kind of a happier ending considering Black Mirror's, even though
Right.
it kills like it seemingly whatever
Well,
you might
and
consider life as far as
like Lisa watched some more of
AI
this
or
one
whatever.
of this season and was like, it's less sci-fi and more just mean and brutal. And I
Well,
was
let
like,
me ask
all of
you
it
a-
feels mean and brutal. It just always feels like, ugh.
Let me ask you this: is it possible that Black Mirror hasn't changed, but it was more fun when we weren't living in it?
Oh, absolutely.
mean,
That's my theory
absolutely,
is that
but
why because it's the opposite of Star Trek. It's the everything will get worse.
it's
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
had an edgelord vibe.
And we don't need any, like Les, you said, we don't need any help like fearing the future.
No, but I would say that even looking back on when I was really enjoying it, it always kind of had a 90s edgelord vibe to it. Not in the Matrix coats and, robot legs and shit, but just in the bleakness of it of like, oh, did you get hopeful about tech for the future? Fucking sap. This
yeah,
is Black
yeah,
Mirror.
that's fair.
And
Would you
I
say
don't
one
know.
time, Les, is that they made anytime they made a sci-fi script, they made two versions of it: the bleak one for Black Mirror, and then the comedy version for Rick and Morty.
Right, right. Like, drink more. My God, that's what keeps Rick going.
Do
Yeah.
something, man. Jesus.
Something, man. Fuck. Definitely don't get a pearl or seed or whatever the shit that thing's called installed. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. If we've learned one thing, it's don't do that.
I think Charlie Brooker is probably he's been watching things and he feels like the guy who's like we finally created the torment nexus from the famous novel Don't Create the Torment
Yes.
Nexus. I think that's probably what's made it mean. He's like, I made Black Mirror as a cautionary tale and you fuckers took it as an
Right.
instruction manual.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a distinct bitterness, I think, behind it that is, I think, lost its appeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just never... it's entered into the list of stuff that I feel like I'm supposed to, like, turn in my membership card to nerddom if I'm not excited about, but I never want to sit through Black Mirror. It's just
Yeah,
sad.
I kind of lost. I think at this point I've not seen at least 2 seasons worth.
That's why I think Jonah's Awful was one of my favorite ones in a while. Is that it's so weird, it's fun. Like it's so silly.
I made it halfway through the Aaron Paul, Josh Hartnett one, which is like they are like 60s astronauts who are doing like this really long space station mission, and they have replica robots that are exactly them, that they can remotely control with their minds while they sleep in the space station. Because you need 2 humans up there to run the space station, but they have at home, like they have
why
robot androids of this, because they're going to be gone for years, and this way they can still be home with their families.
That's so weird. That's so much weirder.
Yeah, it's super weird when
I don't want to sleep next to the android version of you.
And they're not super strong or anything. They're just people. They go to the movies and dance and stuff. And then
sure, until they gain sentience.
Nah, one of the Culkins, Rory or Kieran, I think it's Rory.
It's probably Rory.
Is a Charles Manson style who says that this is an abomination, and he and his group of floozies break in and tie the android up and murder its family in front of the guy.
Jesus.
What?
Then destroy his android. So now, whenever Aaron Paul comes down to Earth to be with his family, Josh Hartnett has lost everyone he loves, watched it happen, and has to just sit up in a space station alone. And he gets really weird.
So let me ask you this.
It's the sad. It is Dancer in the Dark sad. It is fucking sad.
You know how Walton Goggins went off of Justified and then went off and started making goofy comedies?
Yeah.
I feel like Aaron Paul's do that because, man, everything from El Camino to Breaking Bad to Westworld to this. That guy's been in a lot of sad shit. It's time for him to go do some comedy.
I feel like something bad's about to happen to this character. Why is that? Because they cast Aaron Paul. Name the last time something good happened to an Aaron Paul character.
Like, I'm so thrilled to have a lead actress role in this. I think I'm going to be in a really great relationship. Who's playing my husband? Aaron Paul.
Fuck. Ah, fuck.
Oh,
well, I guess I'll
shit.
keep that resume fresh.
So is it a cult? Or are we on drugs? What's the deal?
Oh God, I forgot about the cult thing.
Oh, right,
Yeah,
man,
his
that guy-
cult show.
Yeah,
That guy picked some. That guy picked some rough projects.
Yeah, he does. He was great in The Path, though.
He's always great.
Bitch, little bitch. I made you my bitch, Jesse. Bitch. Yeah, bitch, Jesse.
All right. Just a reminder, you can support us by going over to patreon.com/TVD, throw us a fucking episode. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're gonna give you our thoughts on Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. All right, let's talk main course. Let's talk Secret Invasion.
Shh, we should talk. We got whisper about it. It's a secret invasion.
What did y'all think of this?
Invasion, man.
So we've been watching a couple different spy type shows for a while, like in different genres. They're not all like so self-serious. Like we watched the True Lies remake. We watched Citadel. And
Yeah.
like The Recruit was also kind of like in the spy world.
There's Slow Horses, there's been so many spy things recently.
There's been a lot of spy things.
I immediately liked this better. I was like, oh shit, well, this is how you do that. Like,
The opening was so great, I thought.
well, the opening is like
Yeah.
Martin Short comes into this guy who's talking about scrolls, and I'm already
Martin Short.
like,
Not Martin
no,
Short.
Martin
Freeman.
Freeman. Fuck.
Martin Short is a very different
No,
show.
that's a different one. I'd still
I
watch
must
him.
say,
I would say I would be like, okay, 80% chance Martin Short's a Skrull, but I'll still like. But yeah, Martin Freeman is in the room with this like guy that looks crazy.
Like, how early did you guys figure out that he was a Skrull? Because I was like, oh, that guy's a
Les
Skrull. Like right away,
was
I'm like Martin.
5 seconds into the conversation before he said, "Oh, I
Yep.
bet she's a fucking Skrull."
Yep, I was like Martin Freeman. That's not Agent Ross.
I
That
think
is
it was
him.
the moment where he
is-
was like, "What evidence do you have?" And I was like, "Oh yes,
Yeah,
please
fucking
hand me
Skrull,
your
you're a fucking
evidence
Skrull.
so
Yep,
that I can
yep,
reveal I'm a
yep.
Skrull and kill you."
Well, honestly,
Yep.
the show's premise already makes you like. At first, I was like, "Jesus Christ, let's calm down. Not everyone's a Skrull." And then halfway through the episode, I was like, hey, that little girl
5 minutes.
stood weird for a second. That bitch is a Skrull."
Jesus Christ! Throughout this episode, every time I was like, "Wait, is Nick Fury
The
a
lady on the
Skrull?
bench is a
Wait,
Skrull.
It's
Well,
wait,
that Nick Fury is a Skrull. Okay, well,
Is Maria Hill a Skrull? And I
Maria Hill
think
is
at
not a
points
Skrull.
both of them at points have been Skrulls. So
It immediately instills a paranoia in me that I have not had for any other spy type thing. Of
Yeah.
like, I immediately, I'm suspicious of everyone of like, no, what the fuck?
yeah, taking Bendis' shit show comic, which had a great premise, and retaking the premise and turning it into a spy thriller about these things that can look like anyone. This is the perfect
It
genre
makes
for that.
way
I'm
more
so
sense
happy
than what
about
they
it.
did in the
Yeah.
comic. The comic was
Yeah.
like
Yes.
this weird.
this is actually a solid plan. I'm actually scared this will work.
yeah.
But also, I like that they're doing the thing. The Skrulls in the MCU were used as a metaphor for sort of Muslims and being profiled
Mhm.
and being losing your home and that kind of thing. And so of course them doing sort of terrorist extremist stuff and them also being like, you have a guy working with you who's like, hey, can we maybe not kill all my people because some of us are dangerous?
Yeah.
Right.
I thought the metaphor stuff was great.
But you got the one that they consider a traitor, and the young ones are the ones that are radicalized
Yeah.
because
For reasonable, like she's like, hey, you remember when 30 years ago when you were going to get us a fucking home
Yeah,
planet?
but instead you've now abandoned Earth. Yeah, we're real mad about it.
Yeah.
And like Nick, you pointed out, it's not new Skrulls. It's
well, but also it's not. It's because Shield was Hydra for a minute, and then the blip happened, and I'm sure
Yeah.
nothing got done during that 5 years.
Yeah.
Also, Fury is a kind of a different character in this. That everyone is like, dude, you lost a step.
That was fascinating to me because I expected, sharp on the ball, badass Fury. And this like kind of an old man who got fucked up by the blip and maybe is like halfway out the door is fucking fascinating to watch.
He was a spy master up until that moment. He blipped
Who
5
lost
years
5
in the
years
future,
of info.
and so now suddenly he knows less than nothing. A guy that's used to being 10 steps ahead of everybody and knowing everything about everyone is suddenly back at the bottom, and and I like that a cheaper show would just have him be like, oh, well, I caught back up and I'm back to being the Fury I was.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it took him a while to become the Fury he was. We saw that in Miss Marvel.
And now he's just going to be up on Saber making that
Captain
work.
Marvel.
I really liked Olivia Colman's character, who
Sonya.
I loved her, and I loved her basically telling him, he's like, look, and she's right. She's like, look, you're gonna get somebody hurt, and he does.
Yeah,
because he's lost a step, he loses someone, and I think that's gonna be fascinating to watch that play out.
But also, he's the only one really doing anything about it, because everyone else is really barely. Some of the upper echelons of the spy organizations know about Skrulls, but everyone else is in the dark on it.
Yeah,
and I love that even for thinking he's missed a step, they still take the very fact that he's back, as no. Yeah. So I think we've crossed. Has the Skrulls done something? No, but Nick Fury came back to the planet. So
there's something changed, and what changed is that Talos's wife got killed.
Right. Well, also, Nick Fury may have lost a step, but he still puts a bug in her office and she doesn't catch it.
Oh man, Nick and I had to rewind that back. Nick was like, "Did he just slip a contact lens on that owl statue?"
Yep. That was great.
And immediately after getting the bag off his head, I'm like, you might have lost a step, but not that many steps. Yeah, crap.
No, you knew exactly what you were doing.
I love the line. Did you have me? Is this an extraordinary rendition? Or you have me extraordinarily renditioned?
Yeah,
she's like,
oh, are you extraordinary?
Did they do something extraordinary? Usually they barely top mediocre.
Man, she's mean in only the way a British person can be.
Yeah.
Oh, it made me want to watch
Olivia
The Favorite
Colman.
again.
I love this
She's
role.
fantastic.
Yeah. Also, Amelia Clark playing the daughter was a really good choice. I like her a lot. I like her conflicted nature. I don't know whose side she's on. I really don't, and I think that's interesting.
From the trailers, I can only assume that I've seen her working with the good guys in the trailers at some point, so I think at some point she flips over on them. But
I think she's a bit like Talos. She's not she wants a homeland, just not this. And I think they're going to very quickly do something that crosses a line for her.
But they didn't. I don't know if they knew. Did they use her? Because she marked the bags and they were decoys,
right?
So she either betrayed them, or they betrayed her by making her think that was what was in the bags.
Right. I don't know how, and we won't know until the next episode whether it was a double false flag or
Right.
Because it's very spy-y.
Yeah, but not confusing.
Yeah.
Not in any way. This is not like a fucking Nolan movie where you're I don't even know what's going on. Everything is clear except the stuff that's deliberately not clear.
This whoops rabbit hole's ass for
me. Even the premise of the show is let's not make the drop confusing. Let's have them mark the bags with red X's so the audience knows. And it's really they do it for the but honestly, a red dot would do the same thing for an agent, but the giant red X's so that the audience can follow it.
Well, and it's a great way to give us a bag to follow while the faces change over and over. Because that's super fun. And I know it's for a budget reason, but I love the quick change.
When they pass in front of something quick and you only catch the tail end of the transformation is always cool.
Yeah. I was shocked by the ending.
Yes.
I did not see that coming.
I was amazed how well in the trailer they cut it together to make it seem like that is all season, scenes from all over the season when it's just scenes from one episode. I thought that I guess
special guest star.
Spoil. Yeah, I thought Maria Hill was going to be in the whole season. And maybe she will in flashbacks, but damn.
Well, it's one of those things of it's surprising and yet I shouldn't have been because if you want to pop a character and for emotional stakes, she's perfect because she's always a side character. They never really do they can never really do a whole lot with her because they can't decide. Marvel can't decide how involved S.H.I.E.L.D. is in their universe.
Yeah.
Not since after Hydra, the S.H.I.E.L.D. exists, but we haven't really seen it operate in a while.
Well, S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist. Shield has been gone since Winter
Shield,
Soldier.
no, Shield still exists. The new director is fucking Fontaine. Isn't
What?
that she the in Winter Soldier and Falcon? She's the new one running Shield.
No, that's not Shield.
Is that
That's
Sword?
the CIA.
Or is that CIA?
That is the CIA. If you in Wakanda Forever, she is specifically called out as running the CIA.
Oh wow, okay.
I thought she
There
was
is
the
not
new
a
director. Oh, they call her
no.
the new director.
Yeah, there's not. She's the director,
of the CIA,
There's
not
no
director
Shield.
of Shield. Damn it. Okay,
Yeah.
that's where I was confused.
So basically, Maria Hill has been out in the cold all this time. She worked for Stark during the Avengers, and she's been out in the cold since that.
No,
So
she's been working because Rhodey says she's been working with them, and she's gone AWOL like Fury has.
Yeah, but I think she may be independent. I don't think she's been.
She was doing something
part
because
of the organization.
she went missing, and along with Fury and them both going missing, like maybe they weren't official, but they were working for the government in some capacity because they're.
Yeah, that's true. She might have been involved with Saber somehow because I don't know what Saber is. Saber and Sword is like
Sword's
a whole
different
other
than
thing.
Saber, I think.
Yeah, yeah. But I think Saber might be Sword's like space station.
I think
we'll probably find out more about it in the Marvels because I assume that's
it's exactly like Sword but slightly curvier.
I think the Marvels would have come out before this than the original planning. So I think we were supposed to have seen Saber already.
Mm-hmm.
Because Fury is in the Marvels.
Yeah.
And I think that was supposed to happen before Secret Invasion.
Which makes sense. He's pretty involved in the Captain Marvel the first movie.
Yeah. So I'm of two minds about it. It was a good shock, and I didn't see it coming. And you know how much I love. You give me a surprise, I'm pretty happy about it. I actually thought Kobe Smulders' Maria Hill was one of the more interesting characters in the MCU.
She's fantastic.
And I'm kind of sad to lose her.
I was really looking forward to this being her show.
Yeah,
and it's not now.
The only thing I noticed is that they finally had a discussion in the upper echelons of MCU and Disney, and we're like, okay, we got to pull the trigger on this. Are we ever going to do anything with Maria Hill? Like, are we ever going to actually give her own story or do something major with her? No. Yeah. Okay, then let's axe her and focus on some other characters.
I'll be honest. I think it would have been more interesting if they had killed off Talos instead and left them without a Skrull ally.
No, you kill Talos and you're immediately on Emilia Clarke's bad side again.
That's story-wise it makes sense. Yeah.
So story-wise, you got to have Talos as far as a Skrull ally in the beginning before Emilia Clarke flips over again. And also it would be like true. Both her parents were dead. No, Maria Hill is the perfect person to kill.
Yeah.
I'm of the same mind of it of like what was it, Battlestar on Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Because shit. Yeah, he's got to go though.
Yeah.
Like that's what works for the story and was honestly what's best for the story. Because if they haven't done anything with Maria Hill in the last fucking 2 decades, they weren't going to do it. So, yeah, I dig the idea that, like, when the thing is opening about misinformation, and so during all this misinformation, you can't trust the news or information on the internet. Who do you trust? You trust individuals. You trust people, the people around you. Well, what if you can't trust them anymore either?
Yeah. That was a really good opening speech, like sort of to highlight the dangers of this and what it means.
Yeah,
I thought that was
they saw the stakes really very clearly and immediately.
Also, as gritty as this is, and I saw at least one reviewer compare this to like being Marvel's Andor. It's not without its fun. The bit between Talos and Fury, where he's talking like, "What did you get for your midlife crisis?" The Avengers. That was great. That was a good line.
Yeah.
We got to talk about their acting for a second. Samuel Jackson and
Ben Mendelsohn.
Ben Mendelsohn. They became friends in the Captain Marvel movie. That was true.
Yeah.
They are selling a 30-year friendship to me.
Man.
Yep, and we have not seen most of it. Yeah, you're right. They're 100% selling it.
It's the same thing that they just did in Guardians, where like Star-Lord calls Rocket his best friend.
Yeah. We didn't see any of that, but we buy it. Yeah.
Somehow they're getting away with, but through just really good acting and storytelling, getting away with selling us on relationships we actually haven't seen. But we feel them. We feel like we have. Like we feel like this has been earned, which is just as good as it actually being earned.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing with Nebula in her whole character arc in Endgame of like, you don't realize that you've barely like when Endgame rolls around, you don't realize, hey, you know that Nebula's only been on screen for like a grand total of 25 minutes, right? Out of all the
Yeah.
MCU. What? That can't be
Yeah.
right. But I care about her story. Yep.
Yep.
They tricked you. No, I'm very excited about this. And
Yeah.
I'm
Same.
glad to have a Marvel show to come back week to week. I haven't been this excited since Loki, honestly.
Yeah.
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 It's a great first episode.
When the credits rolled, I was like, so that's what I wanted an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show to be.
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
Actually, if they somehow had brought Coulson back for this or had a Skrull impersonating him,
right,
that would have been great.
Oh,
yeah, to
right?
reveal like, no, I saw you
Yes.
die. Yeah, I'm actually a Skrull. You should talk to Fury about that.
Yeah, he's like, that wasn't me.
Just
So
disregard the whole ABC
one of the first
show.
things I said was, please don't take Hill to don't send Maria Hill to Tahiti, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did say that as she was dying. Like,
yeah.
I mean, though I would accept her being a life model decoy. Like if she's an LMD and we want to do that, cool.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
That's actually that's kind of good.
They have never actually done in the MCU because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't count.
Of course.
LMDs.
Yeah.
Because Tony Stark references it in Avengers, I think. He references the LMD or somewhere he does, and I'm like, I thought they were setting up to bring back Coulson, and they did not.
Yeah, does he mention that in Avengers 2 way back when?
Is it Avengers or Avengers 2? Is at some point he's like, you've reached the life model decoy of
You've
Tony
reached
Stark
the
or
life
something
model
like that.
decoy of Tony Stark's. Yeah, it's one of the Avengers movie. It's way back.
I think it's the first Avengers. I think when Coulson is trying
First
to
calls
call him.
Wow,
Yes.
that's a long callback. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of bummed they never, because LMDs is one of those great concepts. It's also a great way to be able to bring characters back from death.
Dude, if they actually, that should be the
yeah.
end stinger of this show.
Yeah.
After the Skrull invasion is basically taken care of like, okay, well the Skrulls are back on our side again. We're pretty cool with the Skrulls. We have a different infiltration problem, and they find Maria Hill's body, and they're like, yeah, that blood in there, that wasn't all that was, and they see we see just robot parts, and like, oh shit, life model decoys.
Yeah, this is only 6 episodes, which is kind of too bad.
Yeah, but it's a a spy miniseries, and you don't want those to go too long, otherwise the plot gets a little convoluted.
That is fair.
I mean, you don't want a 24 situation, right?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see the rest of it.
Yeah,
I'm glad to have Marvel on our desserts again.
Of course, Marvel also made headlines for using AI to generate those credits.
Yeah, we should talk about that, because I've seen a lot of my friends in sort of a conflicted, like, well, I don't want to watch this now. And I'm like, okay, unless you're going to kill your Disney Plus subscription, they're not going to notice whether you watch or not.
Here's why I don't mind it.
Yeah.
And it's because the reason they're using it is the thematic reason in the credits is that it can't replace humans. Yeah. That's the theme they're going for. It'd be one thing if they were trying to get away with something, but they wanted something that reads as wrong.
Yeah, according to the folks that picked the credits, like they chose it because they wanted that uncanny valley.
Yes.
Hey, is that human? Because that's the premise of the whole show is, well, if I saw, if my loved ones were replaced by a Skrull, I could tell real human.
Yeah. Well, I guess my argument for that would be, you can do that by paying artists.
You could have paid somebody to do that. I hope they still paid an agency to do that, and that the agency chose Midjourney or something, you know?
That's what I come to is like, was this AI like you just told the thing to do it? Because the impression I get, and I think this is getting distorted, is that basically they hired an artistic team and an AI person, and they're like, hey, the artists and the creators are going to feed this stuff to the AI. Like they use it as a tool, which I'm okay with using as a tool. But I think I've seen a lot of my friends who are artists like freak out about any little use of AI, which I understand it is an existential threat.
I get that, but also anyone involved, you're gonna have to get used to using AI as a tool.
Yeah,
in the same not going back in the same way as like, well, anybody who uses Photoshop doesn't really know darkroom practices and is not a fucking photographer, and they are full of shit and should not be included in art.
Right? Yeah, yeah. There's a little bit of that.
How dare you cheat with computers?
Yeah, that's the only reason I find if it was them trying to pass it off as, like really not, but they wanted since the main theme is look at how the the AI is they read AI as aliens thinking what aliens think humans are.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
reads to me as not replacing artists. That it reads to me as that artists can't be replaced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand why people are mad about it, but for me, I'm not gonna choose not to watch the show because this is not didn't cross a hard line for me. But also
Yeah.
tinfoil hat time for me. I think the fact that it came out the day that Secret Invasion dropped, it feels like it was a hit. Someone was like, "Hey, let's hit the numbers a little bit on this. Let's
Yes.
do some
Oh,
damage to Marvel."
absolutely.
And yeah,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
That was definitely well. Not only is it a thematic choice, that was great for the. I'm sure the team was like, "Oh, what a great idea creatively," and then the marketing team got
Yeah.
a hold of that, like, "Oh, I can make some fucking waves with that." Yeah, and
yeah,
it was
yeah.
a rare instance where both teams were kind of on the same page as far as like wanting to do something.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the other big drop this week, and that is Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. You all watch this?
Hell yeah!
What's up, one?
So I love this show. It is one of my favorites. I'm so glad to have it back.
God damn, I kind of like this show.
I thought that episode first, but I mean, for one thing, Carol Kane. Within minutes, I was in love with that.
Oh my
character.
gosh, I was really afraid of
wow.
how she was going to fit in the show, and I loved her immediately. More Carol
Yep.
Kane on the show, please. Also, opening it with Spock stealing the fucking Enterprise.
Yes,
That's fantastic.
Just awesome.
I think one of the secrets of the way they introduce Carol Kane is you introduce an authority figure who could fuck up your plans, and she goes along with it immediately, and you're like, oh shit, she's cool.
Well,
like, what a smart choice.
And Nick and I discussed that, like, the way that she figures out the plan immediately and then asks, like, doesn't stop it immediately, speaks
Yeah.
to what is actually best and special about Star Trek.
Yes.
It's that you have an actual federation of really smart people who are probably going to see through your bullshit. They're not idiots. They are
Yep.
canonically not
Yeah.
stupid.
Yes.
But also,
Yeah.
everybody here is actually that curious nerd. And
Mhm.
Preach less.
and so you can be like, hey, so you're obviously trying to steal the Enterprise, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but why?
Yeah.
And,
But everyone-
and the like, how does she put it? She goes, you've broken at least 17 Starfleet regulations, but
Yeah.
Vulcans don't do things without a good reason. So explain.
Yeah.
Come on. Explain it.
Everyone takes the best case, like has the best assumptions about people.
Right. You
Yeah,
probably got a
yeah.
reason. Tell it to me.
And they have a reason to do so because everyone
Yeah,
kind of like it's the universe where everyone does do something for a reason.
Yep.
And dude, Spock and them arguing like, what do you mean I have to say something? No, you got before you do engage warp, you got to say something. Like everyone does it.
What did your old captain say? My old guy said, boom. No.
Yeah.
Zoom.
So,
Zoom.
I gotta say, cute as that bit was, that's not a thing. There are like two Star Trek captains who say things. It is Pike and it's Picard. Nobody else has a thing.
No,
they
they
say,
did it on
Cerritos
Discovery.
does.
Saru had to come up
Oh,
with his
that's
thing on
right.
Discovery.
Okay,
They've made
okay.
that a whole bit on Disco.
Well, Riker in Lower Decks does. He does the jazz thing.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so this is a new Trek thing, is what I'm saying. It's not.
No,
this is not established. canon.
Discovery brought this
This is
back
a
as a
new
running
thing.
gag.
Yeah, and it's fun, but it is not a Trek tradition. They're creating a new tradition.
Yeah, no, like every captain having to figure out their thing. Yeah, Disco
Yeah.
brought that back hard.
How about
Yeah,
warp me
Kirk doesn't
like
have
that?
one.
And warp in the factor of 5, 6, 7, 8.
6, 7, 8.
Oh god damn it, Riker.
Schlemazel.
The one thing I also like that New Trek has done is they've made ship flying cool.
Oh,
Because like
yeah.
usually flying the ships is just pushing buttons, but like Ortega's is a badass pilot.
Well,
Right.
I'm so used to like I mean, growing up in Next Gen when they were very much naval battles.
Yes, yeah.
Which was like, I mean, as a kid, you never really like. As a kid, you're like, why aren't they doing it like Star Wars, where they fly around
Mhm.
and like try and
Yeah.
avoid stuff? Like, wouldn't that be the thing you do? And so the chase between the asteroids as they're firing and stuff is great. It's pretty cool. And also how the Klingons are like confused, like the fuck, did a Federation ship just blow up another Federation ship? I guess we should look into it.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on over there? Nothing. Don't worry about it. Hey, you want to get a drinking contest? Fuck yeah, we do.
I also really liked. I liked seeing a little bit more development of Mabenga, where it seems like he had some serious PTSD stuff in
Mhm.
the war,
Yeah,
but they're definitely doing a lot of like doling out information slowly because they get these little genetic cocktails that make them badasses. And there is no context for that at all. We've never seen that before. There's no explanation.
Yeah,
it's
and
a thing.
Nick and I
that
were both like, "What the shit did
it
they
looks
just?"
like they juiced, like they needed to juice themselves up to like take on Klingons. Considering like, most Starfleet people like have taken combat, like they can fight a little, at least a little bit, but they're not all like fucking warriors,
Right, and Klingons are canonically supposed to be, much more, not super strong, but they are stronger.
Right, and they're a warrior race, like, so they would at least, they'd have a much more experience fighting at least.
Yeah.
I also like the idea that they're fighting a contingent of people that are invested in reigniting the war because of, like, they were selling guns or profits or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're hardcore into it. But on the flip side of that, there would be a contingent of people in Starfleet that remember the war and, like, fuck no, any means necessary, we stop this from happening again.
Yeah.
And that's what they kind of sold that ending to me too, as far as like willing to like, give the Enterprise their coordinates of like, blow this ship the fuck up. I don't care if we're on it or not.
Yeah, that was really good.
That said, Spock waited so fucking long.
Yeah,
I was yelling. I was
really
like, "Stop, dude!
Hey,
earlier when they said your emotions might get in the way, this is what they meant, man."
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit, the Klingons are gonna see you. And
right.
I like the way they dealt with that. I thought having Spock out, you'll be able to hang with the Klingons.
Dude, I love that the Klingons are like, this Vulcan's all right. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, the non-Vulcan Vulcan, you're all right, buddy. Man, I swear to God, that's how I want the Predator Wolverine mashup in the comic to go. I seriously want them to like stab each other 3 or 4 times and then be like, "Chakra!"
All right, see you next time, bud.
Also, I guess Anson Mount has just had a kid, and so they gave him a little extra time, and that's why he's barely in this episode. They wrote him around him.
Oh, okay.
A little time off, which is funny because Pike is such a big part of the show.
Yeah.
But I didn't miss it.
No, it was fun to have
was really strong.
No, it was fun to see Spock in the shit of it.
Chapel and yeah.
I did love that he's like, you're handing over the fucking the Enterprise to me. Like, oh, we're only in dry dock.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Fuck, God damn it! So, like, even the Vulcan is like, why did you?
What is the saying, sir?
Yep. Yeah, that was it was a ton of fun. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I really love Carol Kane's new character. I think this is just a great show.
Is she a new alien race that we've not heard of before?
She's a new alien race. I thought she was one of Guinan's people.
Same.
Like the whole ageless thing. But I guess I heard she is a new race. Like I assume they have a reason.
I like that they're near immortal. Like she's very clear that like, oh no, we're not immortal. We're just very close.
We're near immortal.
I like the idea that the reason she doesn't catch them too is that she's been on this station waiting for any ship that's like, for the excuse of like, oh shit, are you doing something even halfway interesting?
Crazy?
Okay, I'm jumping with you.
Man, like I love my Science Nerd Federation, but also there's some boring fucking squares.
Yeah.
You know what's worst thing about immortality? Watching the loved ones die? No, anyone with empathy.
Like that happens to everyone with a soul. Are you kidding me? Everyone.
Yeah.
No.
It's boredom.
Boredom.
Good line.
Yeah.
Good line.
Yeah, solid. I want more Carol Kane immediately. Yeah. She's fucking great.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know. I know Spock has a thing with Chapel, but honestly, the way they were interacting, I was like, "Hey, Spock, I think she's into you." Like,
man, that woman could teach you some shit, man. I mean, Carol Kane. I don't even mean one alien. Like,
she'd nurse your Klingon hangover, man. I also like that they have medical sprays for everything, and yet seem unable to cure.
There's nothing that cures that.
There's nothing that cures.
Nothing cures a blood wine hangover. You drink that much blood wine, that's all it is. There's no curing that.
It's out of do they drink out of the realm of scientific, like medical science.
Yeah, very much enjoy this back. Looking forward to more.
Yeah. All right. Well, that about wraps it up for us this week. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thank you, Randy. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, dudes. Unless you're Skrulls, then fuck off.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder, you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us that $1 an episode. Listen to us talk about Transformers Rise of the Beast and so much more. And until next time,
TV Dudes out.
Yep, I knew that's what we said. I knew that's what...
Goddamn Skrull!
Shit!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener-supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.